Right, ladies and gentlemen, hey up YouTube. Don't know how much you can hear. Let me sound check. There is going to be a fair amount of wind noise. Welcome to a very windy Withernsea. Very windy Withernsea. We were hoping to catch this morning the last of the good weather. It hasn't happened. The sea is lumpy. I think that's how Shane described it. Lumpy. I love that. Yeah, we come to Withernsea. Say we were hoping to catch the last of the decent weather before this blow up blows all the way in. And if this is just the tip, then I think it's going to be quite rough for a few days. So sit back, have a cup of coffee, tea, beer, gin and tonic, whiskey and coke, whatever your beverage of choice is, and let's see if we can put some fish on the beach, eh? I can tell you right at the start of Mr. Begbie's video from the same day, that's the Holderness Cod Father, do go check him out, there is fish. So I'm not going to spoil you, I'm not going to tell you what it is, I'm not going to say whether it was a whopper or whether it was a tiddler. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. You're going to have to go over to his channel to check it out. Link to his channel lives permanently in my video description. Click the little where it says show more. Yeah, it's going to be tough going today. High tide's at around about lunchtime, around about 12, 1 o'clock, somewhere in there. It's going to be hard to see. We've got wind with tide, so it's going to hold it in. I was hoping it would hold it down a little bit, but it hasn't. I don't know, I'm still learning, I don't know how all this works, but I was hoping it would hold it down. I'll show you in a sec after the opening intro. It's really not. I'll film a bit of ambient. We're going to have the setup time lapse. It's me, it's what you're going to do, it's what's going to happen. And then I'll put you on the rods and we'll have a bit of ambient. The rigs, well, I'll tell you what, let's have the intro, roll the setup time lapse, and then I'll tell you what the rigs and things are that I'm using today. Yeah, a bit higgledy-piggledy when we've come to see the weather, so yeah, I'll see you in a sec. Right, well, yeah, as I was just saying, the weather, we were hoping to catch the last of the good weather. Like I say, for what the forecast says, could be about a week. But if this is the last of the good weather, then it really is going to be tough going for the next few days at least on the east coast. I know that sort of, obviously we're here at Withernsea. I know that it's even worse down on the Lincolnshire coast. So, you know, if you are going out, or if you have been out, I hope you did well, I hope you stayed safe. So, yeah. Rigs I'm using today, just two 3-up clip downs. The only reason I'm using a clip down rig is because getting a rig out there in this, I mean, you should be able to hear a bit of the wind noise. That's just, we're sheltered by the rocks and the lifeboat station here. As soon as you go past it, it's blowing pretty much straight in your face. So you need every advantage you can get to try and get a bait out there, hopefully into the fish. So yeah, I'm using two 3-up clip downs just with size 1s on. Starting off small. If this sea drops back a little bit, I might switch one of them up to a bigger rig, because at the moment, in actual fact, one of the weird things that's happening at the moment is I've got a 6-ounce Namix lead with long legs, one of my leads, on the bent banana, the left hand rod, as you will see them in a minute. On the right hand rod, on the pent idle, the green rod, I've got a 7-ounce breakaway. The 7-ounce breakaway is not holding at all, so I'm going to have to bring that one in and change the lead. So what I'll do is I'll spin you around, I'll bring it in, I'll quickly show you the rig. It's nothing new, it's nothing fancy. I was hoping to get out with a hair rig today and fish for some rays, but that is not a ray sea. I will still probably start sending some bigger baits later on, but we're just waiting for that bit more depth of water. We've arrived at low water. We are, let me see, I don't even know what time it is. Oh well, we're 2 hours into the flood, so we're a bit further into the flood than I expected. We arrived at 6 AM. So yeah, we're a bit further into the flood than I thought I was. I spent the first hour just stood talking to Shane, looking at his new rods and reels. It's the first time I've fished with him since he's got the Achios Nitrons and the Achios Creeds. He's turning into a bit more of a tackle tart than I am. But they're stunning. They're stunning. And literally, when we were stood talking, I saw a bite. But yeah, I went to speak to him because my bait was still frozen solid. I couldn't get a bait off anything that I've got with me because I say I'm just on frozen today. I've got no fresh, no live, just frozen today. Yeah, all from Hooker's Baits actually. Oh, that looked a bit promising. Bit of a slow pull down, but not in line with the waves. That looked a bit promising. Could have just been some weed attaching itself to the line. The reason we've come to Withernsea, I suggested the southern beaches, sort of heading down Spurn Head a little bit. There is a mark down there that we've been asked not to reveal. I know I'll catch a lot of flack for if I do film there and don't reveal it, because a lot of people don't watch my rants fully or don't fully understand them. I'm not going to go back over them now. I'm trying to leave it in the past. But we've come here. Why did we come here? Oh yes, reports of the weed. The weed. It started off down south with some fellas that I follow on Facebook and occasionally talk to, reporting that the May rot was bad, and then about Wednesday, Thursday this week, the reports started coming in here that the weed was bad, but not on these slightly more northern beaches of Withernsea. These I think are what you call middle beaches on the Holderness coast. Shane, if you're watching, you'll have to let me know in the comments. I think these are Withernsea classed as middle beaches. I think if you go much further north, they're north beaches. And then sort of Easington and south are southern beaches. I don't know. Please correct me in the comments below. I'm still learning a lot about the Holderness coast. It's why I try and get out with Shane when I can. It's his home turf. He knows a lot more about it than I do. I just want to say a very quick thank you to Asso Lines UK. They very kindly supplied me with some new line. I've got the Asso Ultracast £20 and the Asso Invisislick £20 on the lines today. The Invisislick is pink. Literally, when I went to go speak to Shane, the only reason I bring it up is so I went to speak to Shane, and he's just on his Nitrons just discovered the Asso Invisislick and loves it. It's a great line. It really is a great line. It's surprising how visible it is for a pink/red line. I call it pink. I think they call it red. It's surprising how visible it is. Even at night, they do a pink, a yellow, and a blue. I really wanted the blue, but I like high visibility from my main line, so I stuck with the pink. And then I've got the usual orange Asso Ultracast. I've been using that for a long time. I discovered Invisisilk last year, in fact, when I went to go buy some Asso Ultracast, and Georgia Anglers and Danglers didn't have any. He only had literally one spool of Invisisilk, and that was all he had left. So I bought it and fell in love with it, and then it was out of stock everywhere and I couldn't get any. And then I saw Asso were releasing a new batch of it, so to speak, and I was cheeky. I sent them a very cheeky message, and the reply was, if you're not cheeky and don't ask, you don't get. They didn't ask me to advertise, they didn't ask me to mention. They said feel free not to, but you know, each good turn deserves one back, doesn't it? You know, pay it forward. It's a great line. I've used Asso line as much as possible from day one, and yeah, I love the stuff. I've just actually put on my boat rod some Yuki £40 I can't remember what it's called, but it's in blue, and the blue is stunning, and you know, the colour of it is stunning, and I gotta say, it's a 0.4mm line and it's £40. It was astonishing, absolutely astonishing. Great quality stuff. Anyway, enough, I'm rambling. I'll put you on the rods and you can chill out for a bit. Apologies, I didn't mean to talk that long. I'm going to bring in the pen because I'm going to put a different lead on it and recast it, so we'll bring that in. That rant wasn't actually as long as I thought it was. Just save that footage. Have a look at that when I get home. of the things I just quickly want to say, if this video comes to an abrupt end, I suffer with a disease known as Crohn's disease. And I'm not too sure whether I'm having a flare-up this morning, without going into too much detail. If you know, you know, but it's quite a debilitating disease. If this video comes to an abrupt end, I apologise, but it's because I am actually having a flare-up. I was unsure when I set off this morning, I'm still unsure now. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. So, right. Oh, dear me. Dear me. I apologise again, Shane, for bending your ear for so long. But it's nice to vent to somebody who runs in the same circles, rightly or wrongly. So apologies. Anyway, I said, I've just repeated myself because I'm not sure if you heard anything I just said while I was in front of the rods. This wind is pretty vile, pretty strong. So, I've made the executive decision. I'm putting a slightly bigger rig on. Sorry, I just had to restart the camera and start playing silly buggers. Although after filming for 2 hours straight on a GoPro, you kind of got to expect it. So yeah, I'm kind of making the decision that if I'm going to blank, I'm at least going to try for something big. So I'm going with a pulley pennel rig. And I'm still not going too big, I'm going a size 2 with a size 2/0 circle behind it. Got a 6 ounce lead on because the 6 ounce is holding just fine. I mean, the sea may look like really, really wild. But it's sorry, just grab a piece of rubbish before it blows away. The sea may look really wild, but the baits are holding just fine. I'm sure I picked up a packet of squid and black wraps. Can't have done. So we'll go with squid and bluey. I mean, at the end of the day, if there's dogfish, if there's rays, it'll pick them up. I don't know why I do that. Keep my chill box closed because I don't think I'm going to go to the expense of sending peeler crabs out today, because I don't think it's worth it. If the sea calms and drops off a little bit, then I may do, but for now I don't think it's worth it. And all I'm doing to present this bait is this. So it's a pre-made wrap from Hookers. I used to go through all the rigmarole of making my own wraps and things like that, and for what it costs to buy squid and to buy bluey and to buy these wraps, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Where I save, and then, you know, on the other side of that, where I save is then making me own rigs and me on leads. So, and yeah, like I said, I'm going to knock the camera off for a little bit. It's filmed for nearly 3 hours so far today and showed nothing, so I'm going to turn it off. Hopefully I'll come back to you with some fish. If you want to see fish, you might want to head over to the Holderness Cod Father's page. This might be my first on video blank of 2023. We'll have to wait and see. I did blank when we went to Morecambe Bay and then subsequently Fleetwood, and I blanked with such anger due to losing rigs and things that I deleted the footage. So yeah, that's gone. But I did put a clip on this today, yes. But we'll get this out. Like I say, I'll keep going with the 3-up flapper. Oh sorry, 3-up clip down. But fingers crossed for something on this one, eh? Even if it's a doggy. When handling bluey though. I think due to me bending his ear and subsequently a couple of fellas coming to see Shane, I think his bait's going to end up being in the water about 2 hours. Hopefully he'll have a fish on the end of that. But he's a popular man, is Mr. Shane. And understandably so, he's a nice man. say, wellity. Nothing much doing. Yeah, it's been what? Sorry, hang on. It's been what, probably 2-3 hours since I last turned the camera on. Sometimes I turn it off hoping the fish are just camera shy, because the amount of times I go fishing without the camera, it's not many, but it does happen. And sod's law is every time I take the camera, I have a cracking session. Marcus and I went down Bonkers Bank very early in the bass season, just sort of a bit of a tradition for me. And I did it without my camera, and it absolutely fished its tits off. It was absolutely mental. So, you know, I just thought maybe fish are a bit camera shy for me today. But no, nothing. I'm getting stripped baits. Worm baits are getting stripped, and I just had a really good bite on a squid and sandeel cocktail on the 3-up clip down, which I've now started sending at range because I was just getting nothing close in, not a sniff close in. So for the last 3 or 4 casts I've been sending it. And yeah, no, once again failed to turn that bite into a fish. And it was a good hard bite. It was definitely a bite, definitely not tide noise, definitely not seaweed, and like I say, half a solid bait was gone. So something hit it quite hard, probably a bass. It wouldn't surprise me if a bass hit it with its blade and cut it clean in half and took the bit that floated off. So yeah, I'm now trying a bit at range. I was sort of fishing medium range earlier. I wasn't sending it, largely because you couldn't send it because the wind was too high. But that wind has calmed down a little bit. So you know, I'm able to get out there a little bit again now. See if I can actually put my glasses on so I can see. That'd be a lovely stuff. So I just went and had another chat with Mr. Begbie. I say another chat, another whinge really about how crap I'm doing, because I'm not having a good time today. Oh God. Fishing towel's probably not the best thing to try and clean my glasses with. And I said I'd try peeler, but the thing is, peeler's so goddamn expensive that I don't want to send one. You know, you're talking 50-60p a cast. You know, and that's expensive when you don't know whether it's worthwhile doing. I mean, I don't suppose it's ever really a dead certainty as to whether or not it's worthwhile sending big baits, little baits, you know, rigs. You never know. And that's, as I was just discussing with Gaz and Shane, that's one of the beauties of sea fishing versus pond fishing. That's a bloody big pond, to quote Gaz. That's a very big pond out there. And nothing is a given. Nothing's a certainty. Sorry, just watching a big piece of weed just get washed up my line. I'm hoping it gets washed up far enough so I can take it off, because it's playing havoc with my rod tip. Yeah, nothing's a certainty out there in the sea, you know. And another sort of quote I was given, quote per se, somebody said to me, never chase dead fish. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, you see these catch reports from the day before, or the tide before, or the night before, or whatever. And the saying is there because back in the old days, you get a good catch report generally speaking, they've been taken home and eaten. So, you know, those fish are dead, they're gone. And so the saying still applies to an extent. Obviously we don't take half as many as they did back then. You know, it's more fishing for survival then, or fishing for a more stable food source, whereas now, I mean, I release probably 80-90% of what I catch. And then what I do keep has got to be within a quite defined sort of over the minimum size, but within a sort of size after that. No, it's definitely. Is it blown up yet? Has it washed off? No, it hasn't washed off. But yeah, those fish have been caught and they swum off, and the chances of them being in the same areas are minuscule. So, you know, don't chase them. Don't go to a mark purely off the back of a good catch report from the tide before. Go to where you want to fish, is basically what was said to me. And that's what I started doing. I've come out today, like I said, because Shane, Gaz and Steve, who I met earlier, very briefly, very quiet gentlemen, they know this coastline. I know areas of Cleethorpes, okay-ish. But they know this coastline, they fish this coastline. I thought the tide was on the ebb. It doesn't seem to be. And my phone is going mental in my pocket. Hang on. What's going on? Oh, it's pictures. Sorry, but get distracted. I'm very easily distracted when I've been fishing for 6 hours and not seen any sign of any fish. I suppose that's perfectly normal. Keeping your focus on the rod tip is difficult, isn't it? But I hate to say it, and I hate to be defeatist, but this does look like it's quite possibly going to be my first blank of 2023. I can't even find a flatty. I've been fishing around in the margins, trying to find a flatty or a rockling or anything small. I can't even find a friggin' flatty. Oh, that's what I said about peelers being. Yeah, so I went down to see Shane and he had some that were defrosted. So he says, have one of them. So, and they're huge. There it is. So I've got half of that left. I've got some black lug left that, quite frankly, haven't really done anything for me all day. I don't know why I'm still using them. But then I suppose nothing really has done anything for me today. You know, the only thing I could do if I had the capability of doing it, or if I had the equipment here with me, would be to massively scale down my hook sizes. I mean, I'm fishing with size 1s now, size 1s on a clip down and size 2Os out at distance. Well, both rigs are out at distance, and size 2Os, so I've not gone massive, but I can't find the fish. Cannot find the fish. Everybody's rod has been calm to still for hours now. but it does look like the storm is going to blow through quicker than predicted. So Marcus and pitch it and cast. And I know I'm talking about things that are going to go on tomorrow, and you're going to not see this until a few days after that, but Marcus is trying to get out tomorrow, so hopefully, and I think he's planning on going Hornsea with Jimmy Cod Bites, so hopefully they have a good session. Can't do any worse than this, can they? But I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm not going to do any more filming with regards to keeping you rolling or doing any time lapses. I'm not giving up yet, but I'm this close. But I'll fish on, I'll keep going, and fingers crossed that we'll see a fish. I need to reel that in and take that piece of weed off. Fingers crossed we'll see a fish before the end of the session, eh? So hopefully I'll speak to you in a bit with some good news. Well, let's see how long it is before it crashes out on me again, eh? I was about to turn the camera on and say last cast, and then the very kind Mr. Begbie, because I said the reason I was saying last cast, I'm desperate to try and put a fish on the beach, but the reason I was saying last cast was I didn't want to open a fresh packet of bait. Tell you, bloody GoPros. So yeah, I was about to turn you on and say last cast, and then I saw the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Shane Begbie walking across the beach, the Holderness Cod Father. The reason I was going to say last cast was because well, I didn't want to open any fresh bait. It's not been an action-packed day. I've had maybe one bite. Is that a porpoise? I've had maybe one bite, and I didn't want to open fresh bait. I thought, you know what, I'll use up what I've got left, and I'll call it a day. Over he comes. He's had the curly finger phone call, so he's given me his leftover slaps and a very large, very large peeler crab. So I think what we're going to have to do in honour of him, we're going to have to fish this bait out. So we're going to stay until we're out of bait. I was on last cast, so I've just sent some blacks, and then in honour of somebody else, in honour of Mick and Mick from Rod and Pollock's days, and Mad Mick from Mad Mick Outdoors. In fact, I think he's just changed his channel name. Link to his channel, there will be in the video description, because he's a great channel, great knowledgeable fisherman, brilliant fisherman, and he does all sorts of outdoor activities. He does sea fishing, trout fishing, salmon fishing, fly fishing, he does walks, he does, so check it out. Video link will be, our channel link will be in the video description. In honour of them, I've just sent out a big mega worm. The blacks that I had, that I brought from home, the frozen blacks, they were basically worm jerky. Still oily, still very soft, but there wasn't much in them. So I've just wrapped 10 or 15, literally 10 or 15 up together as a mega worm, and yeah, that's gone out on the pennel. But so far, nothing. If he was moving, I was going to move down, only for the reason, not that it's been fishing any better over there for Shane, although he has had fish, so do go check out his channel. The Holderness Cod Father. Yeah, not that it's been any, it's just closer to the car, it's just laziness. Does look a little bit bitey, that, but the sea has just got to a state, and I'll show you in a minute. When we first, obviously the video from the very first where the sea was lumpy, as it was described to me by Shane, a brilliant way to put it. Was it Shane or Gaz? Can't remember. It's now got to a state where if you rocked up and saw this, you'd be like, yeah, I fancy a go at that. We do know that right down on the bend, I don't know what you'd call it, but right down at the bottom corner of Withernsea Beach, Withernsea Main Beach, we know a couple of, at least one or two bass have come out. and now it's starting to rain. But I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to fish this bait out. So there's the crab that I'm going to peel down and send as a singular bait. Even though it is big, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bifurcate it, open it up, and lay it so it's quite a long bait. And then the worms I'm just going to fish on the clip down rig. And what I'll do is once the crab comes in, because the crab only lasts about 10, 15, 20 minutes at an absolute push before it's sort of washed out. So I'll bring that in, I'll pack that rod down. So we are getting close to last cast. We are running out of water, but Withernsea is a deep beach. You can fish it pretty much all the way up, all the way down, and everything in between. So I'm in no rush to get off. It's just demoralising, isn't it? I know we all have days like this, and it's called fishing. It's not called catching, and etc. etc. You know, it happens. It is what it is. As I said earlier in the video, that's a bloody big pond, isn't it? You know. I think even Gaz and Steve are calling it last cast as well. Yeah, it's definitely summer having a munch. But I've had that all day. Summer having a munch, bait's getting destroyed and nothing on the hook. But not signs of it being crab, more signs of it being fish just pecking at the bait. You know, pin whiting maybe a little rockling. That definitely looks a little bitey. But I'm just gonna have to stick it out, because every time I've done that so far this session, I thought, oh, it looks a little bit bitey, and I brought it in. There's been nothing there, absolutely nothing at all. It really has been one of those days. It's been a tough going day. We had a big sea when we arrived. Unfortunately, it looks like it might be starting to build again, so I'm going to rapid change these baits, I think. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. You know when you get that paranoia that every time you look away, your rod tip goes bang? I suppose that's why so many other YouTubers and TikTokers use bells. The most surprising thing is, the sea, as you saw when we arrived, with the big swells on it, and the leads have been holding perfectly fine. What I should have tried a 5. Although I think the line would, the waves hitting the line would have pulled a 5 out. I don't think a 5 would have held. But the 6s have held just fine. 7 obviously held brilliantly, but I dropped to 6s a little while ago. Yeah, so both baits are definitely, if it's not crabs, it's pin whiting. Both rod tips are just going. So you know, it is indicative of crabs. But yeah, I'm just sort of trying to not blank. I'm trying to beat the blank. That's all we ever tried to do, I suppose. But it's got to a point of desperation now, and I'm sure I keep seeing a seal or a porpoise or a pod of porpoise, because you don't get them singular, do you? Or you rarely get them singular. Out to sea, not anywhere near anywhere that would affect me, but I'm sure I keep seeing something out there. Yeah, they're all packing down. So I was going to move down there just to be closer to the car, and I may well do, just to fish out this bait. Plus it's a little bit deeper down there. I'll decide when I next bring it in. But whereas it was really choppy when I fished here on the flood of the tide, it seems to be choppier and more lumpy down that end now than it is up here. So I don't know, I might stick it out, because I can always just walk up the ramp and walk along the top if I want an easy trip back to the car. And then the missus very kindly made me a pack up that I subsequently forgot and left in the car, so I shall eat that before I go home. And then I shall hopefully also enjoy her tea, because hopefully I'll be home for tea time. I won't be staying any later than about 4 o'clock. That will put me at 10 hours fishing. I think 10 hours is just about all I can stick of not seeing bites. Yeah, that was definitely a wave. The sea looks like it's picking back up. I might not even get to fish this bait out, to be honest. But I am just chasing a blank saver now. Like I said, the problem is I don't have any smaller hooks. If I had some size 6s, I'd have bloody sent them by now. One of those days. We all have them. We try and avoid them. We all have them. As the weather forecast has panned out, it now looks like tomorrow would have been a better day to come, but I've booked myself in some work, so it is what it is. Cost of living crisis and all that. I do have to say, had it not been for Marcus being the absolute superstar that he is, I probably would have had to quit fishing 2, 3, 4 months ago. Yeah, I mean, no bones about that. No bones about that. Had it not been for him, I probably would have had to jack it in. Or the videos would have become a lot less common. The biggest problem I've had was trying to keep the car from breaking down. Because there is something still very wrong with the car, but I can't find it. Can't find it. Yeah, the sea's on a big surge back out now. But the groin isn't fully uncovered, so I've still got a few feet of water at least. That's all it takes for a bass. That's all it takes. They don't need much. So I've not even been able to wheedle out a flatty. That's the weird thing. I wasn't able to find flatties, I wasn't able to find rockling, cod, bass, nothing. Not much going on, guys. There could have been some at having a sniff earlier on, but I don't think there's any takers. I appreciate the bait, Mr. Begbie, but I think it's going to have to go back in the bait box. That sea's gone from calming to building again now. Should we bring them in and put some fresh worm on it? Shall we do a rapid change on the 3-up flapper? Or shall I keep them because they're a nice quality worm? How wet's the paper? Paper's pretty dry. I think he said he'd only had a couple out of it. Yeah, bugger it. You know what? I'm sorry. I know you left me for me to stay and fish a bit longer, Shane, but yeah, this sea's building again. I'm going to call it a day. these are my last casts, guys. I'm actually going to say this is my outro as well. Sort through that, get all the rubbish out into my box so I can put it in the bin when I go. Yeah, there's one just up there. Yeah, thanks for staying with me today, those that are still here. It's been a long old slog today. It's been a hard day's fishing for no reward. So the first blank on video in 2023. And what a cold day it's been as well. As always, thanks for staying, thanks for liking, thanks for sharing, thanks for subscribing. It means a lot. It genuinely does. There's been a bit of everything in this video. There's been a bit of ranting, there's been a bit of chatting, there's been a bit of time on the rods. Unfortunately no fish. Hey, it happens.